I have to tell you something that most people don't get about sales. People aren't buying what you sell, they're buying what it does for them. They're buying peace of mind, protection, security, status, confidence. Because a pen isn't just a pen, it's a signal. And if you want to become a persuasion professional, you have to stop selling the object and start selling the outcome. If you're new here, I'm Ryan Valet, your FExpert or final expense expert, and for over 4 years, I've been grinding in telesales in just about every niche. And we've now built a free lead agency where you can build your business from home with real live training and leads that actually close. If you're serious about getting in and leveling up and you want to see what it takes to join, click the link in the description and see if it's a good fit. No hype, no BS, just a legit opportunity if you're willing to work. Now, a quick myth bust before we even touch the pen example is myth number one: people buy products. The truth is, people buy outcomes. The product is the vehicle. Myth number two is talking more convinces people. Truth is, the data says the opposite. Research actually finds the golden ratio around 43% talk and 57% listen. And when reps talk too much, especially past the 65%, win rates drop. So if you're losing deals, there's a strong chance that you're not missing a clever line, you're missing control and clarity. Myth number three is first impressions take 7 seconds. Truth is that they can happen almost instantly. People form trait impressions from your voice with exposures as short as 100 milliseconds. That means the signal you give off, certainty versus uncertainty, matters way earlier than most reps realize. Myth number four is if I give them more facts, then they'll buy. The truth of the matter is clarity beats information all the time, and stories stick longer than stats alone. People recall information better over time when it's wrapped in an anecdote versus statistics. That's why transformation sells. It feels like real life, not a brochure. Okay, now let's make this practical with the pen because this is the simplest way to teach the skill. Imagine you're selling a pen to a young real estate agent named John. John's trying to break into high end homes, but he feels insecure. Why? Because he's young, worried clients won't take him seriously. Your job isn't to convince John that your pen writes better than others. Your job is to show him how owning this pen is a step toward becoming the top tier agent he wants to be. And here's the mistake most reps make. They start describing the pen. It's premium, it's metal, it writes smooth, it lasts longer. That's feature talk, safe and weak talk, because now John's decision is actually about a pen instead of about who he's becoming. Here's the framework that actually sells transformation. Start by asking the right questions. You sit across from John and you say, "Hey, John, when you're signing contracts or filling out paperwork, what kind of pen do you usually use?" He pulls out some cheap pen and says, "Oh, just whatever I had lying around." Perfect. You lean in. How do you feel when you pull out that pen in front of a client? He pauses, looks at the pen, and says, "Well, honestly, I've never even thought about it." Now you ask, "Well, what do you think that your client feels when they see you pull out that pen?" Now he's thinking because you just moved him from pen to perception, and perception is where money lives. Your job is really to position the transformation. Don't be afraid to go deeper. So, John, you're working with high end clients, right? Do you ever feel like they don't fully trust you because of your age? He nods, of course. "Yeah, sometimes. They probably think I don't have enough experience." This is when you say, well, that perception can shift fast. It's not only what you say, it's how you show up. The smallest details speak loudest. Something as simple as the pen in your hand sends a message. Because the truth is, people form impressions fast, way faster than most salespeople want to admit. Create emotional desire by connecting identity. Now you connect the dots. John, this isn't just a pen, it's a signal. A signal that you belong in their world. Every time you sign a contract or jot down a note, you're building trust without saying a word. It's like a tailored suit. It changes how people perceive you. And more importantly, it changes how you see yourself. That's not a pen pitch, that's an identity upgrade. That's transformation. And here's why this works. If you can get John to feel like the guy who belongs, he'll show up like the guy who belongs. His posture changes, his voice changes, his certainty changes, and then the outcomes follow. Close the deal by selling the step, not the object. Finally, you seal it. John, this pen is more than just a writing tool. It's an investment in your brand, your confidence, and your future. You've got big goals, right? This is a small step in making them happen. So, what do you think? Are you ready to take that next step? Now, I'm going to bring it straight into your life insurance sales. Because if you learn this part, your closes get cleaner immediately. Most agents sell the pen, they sell the policy, they sell the premium, they sell the features, and then they wonder why people say, I need to think about it. Of course they do. You gave them a product to think about. These people aren't shopping for a product, they're trying to get relief. They're buying because their spouse won't be stuck. They're buying so their kids won't have to figure this out. They're buying because this is now handled. That's the transformation. The policy is the tool. So the same framework on an insurance call looks a little bit like this. Ask questions that expose consequence. Not do you want coverage, ask outcome questions. If something happened, who's the one that gets stuck handling everything? When you say you want this to be taken care of, what does that actually mean? What would you want this to do for your family when that time eventually comes? Those questions pull the conversation out of insurance and then into real life. Position the transformation with plain language. What we're doing today is making sure your family doesn't have to scramble or borrow or carry this financial stress while they're still grieving. This is you handling it ahead of time. Clean, human, and real. Create emotional desire by connecting love and identity. This is what responsible looks like. This is what love looks like when it has a plan. That's the transformation they're buying. Now you close with clarity, not pressure. Based on what you told me, this solves the exact problem you're worried about, and it actually fits the budget that you're comfortable with. So let's lock this in so that way it's all off your plate and you can sleep at night. And notice what happens when you sell transformation. You naturally listen more, and the call becomes a dialogue instead of a lecture, which completely lines up to the talk to listen data that correlates with higher win rates. The key takeaway is to identify your ideal customer, qualify them, do they have the money and emotional desire, then sell the transformation, not the product. Because real sales isn't forcing a decision. Real sales is helping someone see a better future clearly enough that the decision becomes obvious. Remember this, guys. You're not just a salesperson, you're the calm in their chaos, the clarity in their confusion, and the guide that turns fear into protection. Real sales is transformation disguised as a conversation. See you guys in the next one. Subscribe now to be a Fexpert. Do it.